What's going on, everybody? In this video, we're going to talk about another company getting into a Bitcoin reserve. We're also going to talk about an upcoming job report, a job report we just received that came out abysmal, an indicator that flashed for the third time this year, as well as Bitcoin hitting a new low on exchanges. Bitcoin continues to get gobbled up. It is becoming more scarce and more scarce. First off, the job report stuff. So we had an ADP private payroll adding 37,000 jobs in May, missing the 110,000 expectation. This came in less than 50% of expectations. And initial jobless claims rose to 247,000, surpassing expectations. We have Friday's non-farm payroll coming out tomorrow. If it comes in below this 125,000 estimate, we may see higher likelihood of rate cuts. And how about this? Bitcoin's percent supply on exchanges has dropped below 11% for the first time since 2018. And I'll leave that last article down below for you so you can go over it if you want. But I really wanted to bring your attention to this. In 2018, there was about 17 million Bitcoin in circulation. In that roughly 7 years since, we have gained about 3 million Bitcoin into circulation. And now over the next roughly 100 years or more, we are going to be mining and uncovering the last 1 million Bitcoin. So it took about 7 years for 3 million Bitcoin to be minted into the market, whereas it's going to take a multitude of years to uncover the last 1 million. Bitcoin is becoming more and more scarce. Bitcoin supply on exchanges hit a new low today. It did yesterday. And we just keep seeing this Bitcoin being taken off of exchanges. We are now at 2.10 million. It is going to crack under 2 million very soon, in my opinion. And this is one thing to think about too. You know, if you follow the cycle, of course, you want to take some profits at the end of this year. But when you realize how scarce Bitcoin is, I do think it's not a good idea to just get rid of all your Bitcoin. Trimming as we hit new all-time highs makes some sense, but just selling everything, exiting, and hoping for crypto winter could be a mistake. I personally think I'll do a mix of both. I will take some profits as we end this year, following the cycle, but also continuing to slowly DCA into Bitcoin. But let me know what you guys are going to do. Are you going to sell all your Bitcoin miners, all your Bitcoin proxies as we get to the end of this year? Or are you going to hold a little bit of it? Or are you just going to hold everything? Now, we do have news that Bitcoin hash ribbons metric just delivered its third buy signal of 2025. Hash ribbons, which measures the 30-day and 60-day moving averages of hash rate, says that even current prices represent a long-term buying opportunity. And these hash ribbons have an impressive track record of catching long-term price bottoms and has delivered buy signals relatively rarely, but 3 times this year. And here are these hash ribbon signals, the green here. They tend to be at bottoms, they tend to be at lows, and they are usually followed by a good move up almost immediately. Here we did see a move up. This brought a move down. This was one exception, and this one. But generally, these hash ribbons are very good indicators that it is time to continue to buy. Now, we do have news of another company getting into a Bitcoin reserve. Silo Pharma, SILO is the ticker, and it did see a decent move on this announcement. They plan to purchase up to $1 million worth of Bitcoin. A lot of these unprofitable companies, risky companies, see Bitcoin as a way to actually make a name for themselves. See Bitcoin as a way to diversify. They also see the hype involved in Bitcoin and what has happened to stock prices when these companies mention a Bitcoin reserve, which kind of creates a cascading effect. Now, looking at Bitcoin on the chart, we are still kind of playing out this head and shoulders. We were not able to break over this descending trend. We get these false wicks, these false breakouts, and then it crashes back in. We may see a push down to 102,000, then see if that holds up as support. If not, we are probably testing 98, like I said in my last video. Otherwise, if we can break this descending trend, we will invalidate this head and shoulders, and we'll also break this downtrend we've been in. Really need to break 106,000, and then we have a chance of taking out all-time highs. Keep an eye on the rate probabilities from the Fed as we get this employment data, and next week with CPI and PPI. This could definitely change the trajectory of rates, but we're still likely to have to wait a few meetings until we actually get rate cuts. But they are coming towards the end of this year, which should help risk on assets, which lines up perfectly with the 4-year cycle. I do think taking some profits at the end of this year will be important, but always holding Bitcoin for the long term is the way to go, in my opinion. Continuing to just slowly accumulate more and more and more, because what if that cycle doesn't play out, or what if that next bear market isn't as severe? In the long term, these crypto winters are just a blip in the radar. And in the end, cycle to cycle, Bitcoin will create new all-time highs. You can buy during the peak, you can buy during the bear market, you can buy in between. Eventually, Bitcoin will break out of the previous highs of last cycle. We do this every cycle. Once you understand that Bitcoin is limited in supply, once you understand that incoming Bitcoin is continuing to decrease as we get through each halving, it makes it kind of obvious that the only thing that has to adjust for that is price. Price has to go up to make up for the fact that there's going to be less and less Bitcoin being introduced into the market as the years go by, as the cycles go by. Do not let all the institutions continue to take all of our Bitcoin. These companies, institutions, states, countries are going to leave you high and dry if you don't continue to accumulate. But thanks as always for watching, guys. I guess the moral of the story is always be bullish on Bitcoin. Over the long term, that never fails.